Hello, and thank you so much for joining us for this webinar. We're so excited you can make it. Both of us are excited to share more about the Bachelor of Science in Construction Management program here at New School. My name is John Gonzalez, and I am an enrollment specialist here. My role is to help students by guiding them through the enrollment process, sharing more information about the school with them as well. And to my left here is the great man.
Well, inadequate too. I'm George Welch. I chair the construction management programs here at New School. I'm really excited about today's webinar. This is the first time we're going to do one on the Bachelor's of Construction Management program.
Yes.
So I really look forward to having this chat with you and talking about what we want to communicate to you, because school's ready to start in October, and we'd love to have you be on board with us.
So a few quick things before I pass it over to George to share more about his program. Is that I will be sharing about the enrollment and application process at the end and what that consists of. But we're also going to have a Q&A session. And you're welcome to type out your questions in the chat box throughout the presentation, and then we can go ahead and walk through those at the end. And the last thing is we'd love to know if you are interested in applying or enrolling for the fall quarter here. It's not too late to apply, and so if you would like to enroll, it's not too late. We'd love to help you, but just let us know in the chat box. Right, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to George, and he'll share some information for you.
Terrific. Well, thanks, John, and I appreciate this opportunity to talk to you on the board. We got a really good response, and a couple of things before I get started with the slides is, for those of you who are in the San Diego area, this Friday we are having an open house. So if this intrigues you today, please sign up and come to the open house on Friday. I think there's a link on our website for the sign up. But we'd love to come and have, if this intrigues you, we can meet you face to face and do some discussions on Friday. So let me walk to you a few things first. Where is New School of Architecture and Design? Well, we are in the downtown area of San Diego. We are in the heart of East Village, and we have been around since 1980. So a lot of people think of New School as maybe a new school, but New School is our name, and we are a new school for architecture and design. So the picture on the screen right now is Marvin Malika, who is our president. And Marvin is a fantastic gentleman. He is world renowned. He has been president of the AIA, American Institute of Architects of the United States, and he is been with us now for almost 2 years. And he does talk about our responsibility as architects. As architects and designers, we have a special way of seeing the world. And what we do is really valuable to the rest of the world. And that is a really important element about how New School focuses on its mission. And our mission is to nurture and inspire design-minded students. Now, design-minded, we'll get into that a little bit further as we go along, because we want to talk about how design-minded and design-thinking students are different from what we find in the rest of academia. So, but here at New School, we offer degrees in architecture, we offer degrees in construction management, and we also have programs in design, in interior architecture, in product design, and in media design. Because we are in a school of architecture, our construction management students take classes with architects. They learn how architects think. They learn the design-minded thinking that architects use, and it helps us to be better construction managers. Our philosophy is rooted deeply in this design thinking. And I think of design thinking as a matrix problem-solving method. Most of you are probably familiar with engineering's method, or a scientific method, or even a business method, which is a linear problem-solving set of tools. In design thinking, we use matrix problem-solving because many times we are looking at thousands or hundreds of inputs that affect the ultimate design result. And that's how we learn to do our thinking and our problem solving. We are a focus on preparation for practice. And that means that our students are prepared to be viable and effective members of the team as they graduate. In our program, and we'll touch on this a little bit deeper later on, but in our program, many of our students in their second, third, fourth year have already been recruited by the companies that they will end up working for. And so becoming prepared for practice, and the other thing that's on this slide that's important is really this project-based learning. We can't build buildings by ourselves. It is a teamwork effort. And therefore, many of our classes deal with project-based learning problems that you'll be doing. And you'll be doing them as a team. So we have, this is a great photo of my current intro to construction management class, who was getting ready for a field trip last week. And so it's fun to see them. I just left them a few minutes ago as we finished class today. And but our curriculum here is built on 4 educational pillars. How do we prepare people for practice? What is the international reach of what we do? How does sustainability affect our business that we're in? And the fact that we do urban engagement, that we are actively engaged in the communities in which we practice. So understand that our ability to be here in East Village gives us a great connection to both one of the most active construction areas in the country, as well as to solving human-centered problems. We are well known. We are accredited, both regionally as well as programmatically. The Western Association of Schools and Colleges, WASC, is our regional accreditor that accredits the entire school. Okay, and then we have programmatic accreditors like the National Accreditation Architectural Accrediting Board, who just completed their review of our program and renewed our accreditation for the maximum time that they can give an accreditation. So our architectural program is doing very well. Our students in construction management work side by side with our students in architecture. And through doing that, we have been able to compete in the American Schools of Construction student competition for the past 5 years. And in those 5 years, we've managed to take first place 3 times. Now, when we talk about the regional or the ASC student competition, this is a significant event that happens in February every year, where about 1,700 students come together, compete in 240 teams from 45 universities. And while we've been there only 5 times, we've taken first place 3 of those. Another great advantage of this student competition is it turns into a job fair, because this last year 113 companies were there to recruit people as the student competition completed. We also have award-winning faculty and students in other programs that have been very successful. We are dedicated to your successful career. Our career services department is actively engaged with our industry, so they know who is out there looking for people to fill slots. And in fact, in the construction management side, their toughest problem in the in the career services office is handling the number of firms who want to come and interview our students and present their companies. I'll get a little deeper into that in a slide later on and talk about some of the companies who've actually been here. But our slide here shows that as a school, we've had an 88% job placement within 6 months of graduation. As a program, our Bachelor's of Science in Construction Management has achieved 100% placement for the last 4 years. I mentioned we're located in the heart of the contemporary East Village in San Diego. It's a wonderful place to go to school, great weather, great lifestyle, great physical activities to be engaged in. but also it is a center of construction. Outside of my office window, I can see about 12 cranes that are on projects, many of the projects which employ some of our recently graduated students. So New School it's a great shot of our building. We're located, as I mentioned, right in the downtown area, right off the trolley line, and very easy to have access to. But as construction projects become more complex, the team of people that do the implementation of the design, and that's what construction managers do, really need to have more specialized management level training. Now, one of the key elements here in the Bachelor of Science in Construction Management program is we are human-centered in our focus here at New School. And it's not just in the design side, but it's in the leading of teams that we focus on. Team, I think I've mentioned it before, but no one builds a building by themselves. They have to put together a team, and that team has to be led by competent people who know what needs to be done. Our BSCM program helps you be one of those people. So our mission is to nurture ethical, design-sensitive construction managers who can lead positive change in the built environment. But our outcomes, these are the things that we look for every one of our graduates to be able to do. That they can demonstrate the use of advanced verbal, written, and graphical communication competencies. This happens to be the #1 requirement that was found in a 2011 survey of companies, construction management companies, saying, what are the most important things that a graduate can have? And the fact that they can present and write and speak are really important elements to almost every employer. That they can manage intercultural teams as a leader by setting the direction, aligning the resources, and positively motivating others. We work in a team environment where we most often do not get to select our team members. We work by a bidding process, so the lowest bidder, lowest qualified bidder, quite often becomes your teammate. So it may not be someone you would select, but we need to be able to lead those teams. This design thinking mode that we talked about is applying integrative thinking to business, technical, and social uncertainties. How do we solve the problems that exist in our world today? Every one of our graduates will be able to identify the skills needed to plan, schedule, and control construction projects. And we can differentiate the methods to preserve scarce natural resources. These program learning outcomes are built into every course that we teach, and every course will help you achieve these outcomes in your career here. So let's talk a little just about the industry, because a lot of people don't know what a construction manager is. So let's look at these 4 points. What is that construction manager? What do the employment opportunities look like? Is this really an important industry? And is this program viable for international students? We're going to touch on each of these. So let me just run this little video clip here. Almost everyone knows who an architect is. And almost all of us know who tradespeople are. But they don't know about this construction manager who's in between the designers and the constructors of the industry. We work out there as part of the team of the designers, of the field staff, as well as the trades, to produce the buildings that architects design. And it is really important to understand that it's that leading that is really the key component for the construction manager. I like to equate it to the conductor of an orchestra. I don't need to know how to play every instrument, but I need to know how to lead the people who do to get to the goal that we are achieving. So what are the employment opportunities like in our industry? Well, that's a really good question, because we are in one of the best positions in this industry right now. This is some stuff from a survey that was conducted by the Association of General Contractors last year. And they were looking at current workforce challenges. What are the issues? Well, as you can see, 86% of the companies that were surveyed said that they were having trouble filling salaried and hourly positions. 79%, well, 52% said they were having trouble filling those salary positions. And those are the positions where the construction managers come in. Okay, if a firm is having trouble filling these salaried professional positions, what positions are missing? Project managers and supervisors was the highest answer. Estimating professionals was the next, and then followed by engineers and quality control personnel. So the construction management industry has many facets to it, and we'll get into some of that as well. This is looking at, would you rate the overall quality of the local pipeline for training new construction craft people and salaried professionals? In these charts, the red is the craft professionals. And this is really, these are the tradespeople that actually physically do the work, where the salaried professionals are the ones who lead the team and prepare all of the processes that need to be done. You can see that average, below average, and poor, we're looking at almost 50% of the industry is looking that the trade pipeline is less than adequate, below average or poor. So when we look at this next question, which is, are you losing people, professional staff, whether it's hourly or craft, to other employers? How many of you are reporting that? And you can see that over 50% of the firms are reporting that other firms, both inside and outside their areas, are coming and recruiting their people. This is a quote from last week's Engineering News Record site. And for those of you who aren't familiar with them, it's really something that is a site that is the main source of information in our industry. So Engineering News Record pointed out that last month, 28,000 of the new jobs came from the construction sector. That's almost 20% of all of the jobs that were new jobs last month. And the demand for construction workers continues to expand, driving up hourly compensation in the process. So you can go to engineeringenr.com and look at this report for yourself. It's quite interesting on how our industry is not exploding, but it's expanding with great opportunities. Here's a couple, a website that is one that you should know about if you're looking at various opportunities for education. ONET Online is a compilation of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the Census Department, and a couple other agencies who put information together. I've just grabbed a couple screenshots off of here, but if we look at California for construction managers, over the next, well, this is 2014 to 2024, 7 years, they're looking at about 7,000 new jobs that are going to be created annually in the construction management field. In California, we're going to be 1,550 of those every year. So almost 20% of the jobs that are going to be created in construction management are happening in California. And if you look at this chart, this shows you the top states where construction management growth is projected. And these are the number of jobs that they project to be created in each of these states over the next 7 years. We also want to talk about the wages. Is this a good job to have? Well, our beginning wages are showing the red here is California, the blue is nationwide. But in the red, starting salaries for construction managers is about $55,000. Now, this last year for our graduates from new school, the average starting salary for our graduates was $63,000. So our students are already above this low average. The median for middle level, I think it was when one of the firms that was here, they said, after you've been in the industry for about 3 or 4 years, you should be at middle level in wage earning, which is about $97,000. And if you look at the high ends, like those of our students who graduate from the master's program, you know, you could be in the $180,000 range. These are good jobs. Another thing that's important to know about our industry is that there's a bunch of us old guys in it. And we're going to be gone over the next 10 years. And that's where the young leadership has to come in. We have to replace those people. Our master's program focuses on that, generating that group of leaders. Our bachelor's program focuses on the people who will grow into those roles as we go through their careers. So is this industry significant? And I have to say yes, because it is a business that builds communities that serve people. It touches the lives of everyone and contributes to the quality of life. It's a very old profession that has evolved over time from a craft to an industry, and it has significant impact on the global economy. I think I mentioned before that the global domestic product for 2016 was about $74 trillion. The construction industry is over 4.2 trillion of those dollars, or 4.5 trillion, I think was the number we have. That's a really significant portion of the overall economy of the world. It employs over 7 million people directly here in the United States. It gives rise to the steel industry, the lumber industry, carpet industry, paving industry, cabinets, flooring, all of those industries where people work to produce the products that go into these buildings are driven by what we build. It's larger than the automobile and steel industry put together. Now, housing starts is one of the most important economic indicators that really reflects the overall economy health. And so I'm going to go through a couple little charts here so you understand these things. This is a chart that shows the number of housing starts in thousands from the 1960 through February of 2017. As you look at this, the gray bars are recessions in the economy. And you can see that there's dips in housing whenever there's recessions. But if you drew a trend line through the first, from 1960 to 2010, you'd see that we typically start about 1.4 million homes a year. We have been down over this past few years as low as 500,000 homes, and we are just now getting back up to the 1.3 million housing starts. The reason that's important is that dip has provided us with a period of time where we have not built an adequate supply of housing to meet the growth in the population. When we look at housing starts as compared to the population, the millions of citizens, we typically have been about 6 to 7 thousand starts per million citizens for the last 5 decades. We have been at almost a third of that over this last 7 years. And that's an area where we have a deficit that needs to be filled in. So housing is going to become a major element that is driving where our construction management jobs are going. And now, the reason I use housing, let me just touch on that so you understand. Housing is a precursor. People need housing. When population grows, people need housing. In San Diego alone, we have a demand of about 12,500 housing units per year. Over the last 7 years, we've produced only about 4,500. So we've got a 45,000 unit housing deficit here in San Diego. Now, housing drives schools, drives shopping, drives warehousing, drives municipal plants, drives water and sewer and highway construction. All of those elements happen because we have population growth. So the population in the United States is about 333 million people now, going to 450 million people by the year 2050. We need to have places for those people to live, to work, to shop, and to recreate. So there are about 88,000 construction companies in the United States, and about 1.6 million individuals own construction companies. Now that's from the guy who has his own truck and works by himself to companies of thousands of employees. Annually, we put $1.2 trillion worth of construction in place in the United States. Now, construction managers need to know a lot of different areas. They need to know how to estimate. They need to know about contract administration. They need to know about job site management and construction operations. They need to know how to plan, how to schedule a project, how to monitor the project to make sure that it stays on time, on budget, with the proper quality, and that safety and project risks are all managed. These are all things that we teach in our program. So, is this program viable for international students? And I have to say it is, because certain parts of the world that were part of the British Commonwealth all work under the old UK or English system of architecture. And so the construction manager isn't a normal role over there yet. But as the industries are becoming more and more multinational, where we are having more firms that are based in the United States who are successfully bidding and building projects overseas, the process of the construction manager is spreading with that. We have a number of students in our class from Saudi Arabia who are, this year, for the first time, starting to take the construction management role as opposed to the architecture role. And the reason being is they see these as great opportunities as for their people in their country, as opposed to hiring other firms to come in and do those services for them. So at New School, this is a slide that I like to talk a little bit about, is that some of you may not remember when you had before the time you had a smartphone. But the smartphone has changed the way we do everything. And that's pretty true of most technologies. So we don't get heavily engaged in teaching you a brand of software or a particular piece of equipment. We teach you the methodology and the knowledge and the process that you need to analyze problems, to be able to solve problems with skills or tools that have not yet been created. So I want you to think about that. There are places that teach software, where we teach process, we teach knowledge, we teach methodologies. One of my students, I remember, he was a young man from Uganda who was here, who said, I don't really need to know all this computer stuff. And I said, well, why is that? He says, when I get home, I won't have a computer. I says, well, you can always bring one with you. He says, you don't understand. When I get home, I won't have electricity. And so he needed to know how to do all of these things manually, so he could do these same processes that we're working with tools that he didn't have. Very important part of our program. Now this is getting into the matrix for all of the classes, and it's more than what you'll want to read here on the screen. But when we send you the slide deck, you will be able to read this and be able to go through it. This is the flow of courses that you need to take. The years are on the left, the quarters are on the top, and we leave the right hand, which is the summer, open for you to take additional courses and electives that you might desire to do. So I'm not going to go detail by detail through these, but we do have a very solid integrated studies program here at New School. And integrated studies is what we call general education. If you're going to a big state school, you'd have a department of biology that would have grad students who would teach biology. You would have a department of physics that would have grad students that would teach basic physics too. You would have an English department where you would have graduate students teaching you English composition and business composition. We bring in professors from all over the area that teach those courses, but many of our courses are taught in a very interesting and unique way. And if you get a chance to come to the open house on Friday, you'll get a chance to meet with Bruce Mathis, who's our Director of Integrated Studies. He takes courses and blends them together. So I think one of my favorite is his history of surfing. Now that doesn't sound like a real heavy academic subject, but the truth of the matter is it touches on sociology, it touches on the humanities, it touches on physics and science, it touches on business and how an economy and an entire way of life was generated here in the San Diego area by people who were interested in surfing. This next slide is just a little bit larger type for you to look at, but it's not where I really want to focus today. So as we get close to the end here, I want you to understand that I mentioned before this Associated Schools of Construction student competition. Well, these are some of our graduates who, some of our team members, let's see, all who have graduated now, who are both architects and CMs who are working together in a team environment to take first place at these competitions. It has caused the New School name to be known throughout the construction industry as a very top-notch school. And our students have been recruited very heavily, both through the competition and locally at our school. This last year, we had 11 major construction companies who came and did presentations for the students and then held recruiting and interview sessions afterwards. Now, this has led to almost all of my fourth-year students having contracts with companies where they're going to work full-time when they graduate. It has led to almost all of my third-year students having internships with companies that are giving them the opportunity to learn and put into place what they've learned in the classroom. And we've also had, because all of those students are already occupied, a lot of these firms are now looking at our second-year students to give them opportunities to see what it's like in the field. So between our Career Services Office, our Success in Reno, and our industry collaboration, we are bringing in one of the most important elements of job placement for a student, which is networking, where you get to know the companies that really offer the jobs that will make a career for your life. John, come on back and join us.
All right.
And
thank you, George.
I'll let you go through some of these.
So much. Once again, my name is John Gonzalez. I am an enrollment specialist here at New School. It's a joy to help students through the enrollment process here at New School, answer any questions you might have, talking through any concerns as well when looking to transfer to a college or even starting college prior to high school. So I wanted to run through what this process looks like. You would begin with an online application. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes to complete. The link is right there for you guys to check out. And along with that is an application fee. Now, great thing is, by you attending this webinar, you will get that application fee waived for this fall quarter. So $75 fee waived if you are enrolling for this fall quarter. We also ask that you submit your transcripts. So if you're straight out of high school, your high school transcripts. If you've done some college already, we need transcripts from each college that you have attended. We look for a cumulative GPA of a 2.5, and we also ask for a statement of purpose. We can get to know your career goals and whatnot more. Also for international applicants, we do have an international enrollment specialist here. We can help you through all those details, but we also do require that TOEFL and the IELTS as well. It is a quick process, and we do assist our students through it all. So the moment you apply, you will be given an enrollment specialist who will then guide you through the whole process. So here is program cost. This is per year, flat rate before any financial aid has been applied. You also see the books and supplies, and then student housing is also available on a limited basis, but you can contact us for details on that. We'd love to talk to you the details of housing. But the cost, once again, is before any kind of scholarships, grants, loans, whatever might be applied. Our financial aid department here is phenomenal. They want to know more information about your finances, and they can also let you know which scholarships you would be eligible to receive upon being admitted to the school. They would put that award package together for you, and that would list any scholarships you're eligible to receive, any kind of government aid such as grants or loans. We also offer new school scholarship. We are yellow ribbon, so we also do work with students for their military benefits.
I'm going to sneak back in because there are a couple of things that are really important on what John's talking about here. About 1/3 of my student body in the bachelor's program right now is ex-military. Understand that this is really a great opportunity because when you come out of 4, 6, or 8 years in the military, you already know what teamwork is. And so our students are being very successful. They're on our competitive teams. They're getting picked up almost instantaneously in internships and opportunities, which is really important.
Yes.
But the other thing that's really important in this financial side is that the industry is made up of professional organizations. The Construction Management Association of America, the American Society for Professional Estimators, the National Association of Women in Construction, and the Society of American Military Engineers, SAMIs, are all they're all professional organizations that A, you can be involved with, but B, raise funds and give scholarships. And so it is possible to get some significant scholarship dollars from these organizations by being a good student, by being an active participant in society, and by filling out an application. There is no one who's gotten a scholarship who hasn't applied for it. I can pretty much tell you. So I always tell the high school students, if you want a job that pays $1,000 an hour, fill out a scholarship application. 3 or 4 hours of filling out an application in order to get a $5,000 scholarship is a good return on investment.
Absolutely. So, do not miss out on those opportunities. And we also have community college scholarships as well available. There's a list of those that we work with. So definitely reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to discuss those opportunities in greater detail. That's my contact information right there. Don't be shy. Give me a call. Shoot me an email to schedule an appointment. I'd love to talk to you, or anyone on our enrollment team would love to speak to you as well. We also have an open house this Friday at 11 a.m. and we'd love to see you there as well. So if you're in San Diego, near San Diego, or can travel to San Diego on Friday, please stop by.
Sign up, come and see us.
RSVP
Visit
online.
the school.
You can meet George in person, myself, our other professors here.
I look much better in person.
And then a couple other things before we get into the Q&A. Let us know if you want to enroll in the small quarter. It's not too late. Go ahead and let us know in the chat bar there. And then also, once again, the application fee for the small quarter is waived just by checking out this webinar. So at this point, let's go ahead and address some questions here.
We got some great questions. I really like the fact that you guys are paying attention. So first one I want to touch on is, what are some of the specific ways that you teach students to be effective construction managers? That is really a great question. The class that I taught just before we came in here today is called Introduction to Construction Management and Team Leading. And we really focus on that team leading because at New School, almost all of your classes, you're going to end up in some sort of team project. But no other program offers a course in team leading. or the tools that you need to lead a team. They just kind of anoint you with a magic wand and say, you're a team. Well, we actually teach people how to lead a team. What are those tools to hold people accountable, to build trust, to succeed as a group? Those are really important things that we teach. And then we practice them throughout your entire career here. So what are important skills or software that a student should already have before entering the BSCM program? I think, let's see. One of the best things is, can you think? I'm going to teach you how to think, and we're going to teach you ways to think. But if you can think already, you're going to be way ahead. And that's not a software, that's a skill. Spend time thinking about things. Read stuff. Build things in your head. Learn to imagine, because that's where we can start to help you grow. Of course, you need to have Word and Excel and the basic Google Docs type of things that most of the schools are now teaching. But we also, one of the things we do, and it's included in your student fees, is we provide a subscription to lynda.com, which is a great source which will help you with any kind of software that you need to learn while you're here. So that's included in your student fees, and I use it probably every week to look at something I want to look at. So, do CM students take architectural courses? Is there an overlap in the curriculum, and can you talk about the difference in the career path? So let's take those three questions one at a time. Absolutely, we take courses in architecture. We take courses with architects, number one, because the students are in those courses together. But if you have building systems, structural systems, we have physics together, we have the integrated design studio where architects and CM students are in classes together. But it's not just one way. One of the things we did about 4 years ago is we created a minor in construction management for architecture students. So 5 of the key CM classes are heavily populated with architecture students who want to learn about estimating and scheduling and documentation and financial literacy and team leading. And so because of that, we allow architects and CMs, well, they interact a lot. And as I mentioned, in our competition teams, they actually work together. So, and Ted, let's see, the next question is, instead of taking general ed at a community college, I can finish that part of the degree at New School while I'm studying BSCM. Absolutely. One of the issues that a lot of the community colleges have is they've given you a path to go to the CSU or the UC schools. But UC or the state schools will not take you unless you've completed all of those courses. You can transfer here and take those last few courses that you need to have done, because we offer those courses here. And so in your transfer credit, you can, one of the things I've been trying to do is students who are studying bachelor's or an associate's degree in business administration or business management pretty much can come here and complete their course of study in about 7 quarters, which is really interesting. Now, one of the last questions in there, would you recommend taking a foreign language course as well? And the answer to that is C. We are one of the only programs in the country that requires 3 quarters of Spanish. And that's because we want you to understand Spanish grammar, Spanish writing, and technical Spanish. Our last course, we actually use artifacts like working drawings and contracts and documentation like that to learn how Spanish is used in our industry. Oh, by the way, 80% of the workforce in construction, not just in San Diego, but in construction, speaks Spanish. So we want you to be able to communicate with the people who you're actually leading. So that's a really important question. I'm really glad you asked that. Does our career services help place students in internships? I think I mentioned that, but if you didn't catch it, the industry is looking. The hardest part of career services is scheduling the time for the firms to come and interview our students. That's much more difficult than them trying to find firms to come in and do that. Because I've got 5 on my desk right now who are striving to get in that first week of school. So, let's see, what is the best way to begin a career in construction management? And do you need to have a degree to be successful? If you go to that ONET online site that I showed in the slides before, they talk about what are the requirements for construction management. In their numbers, 70% of the jobs require a bachelor's in construction management. Now, there are people who work up from the trades, although this fall I have a student who has worked in the industry as a tradesman for the last 5 years, who knows he's limited as to where he can go. And so he's coming, he's going to start taking his Bachelor of Science in Construction Management here, because he knows that's going to lead him to a better career as his knees start to give out and things like that. So yes, I think there's a really good, strong reason. Now, I'm not saying anything bad about people who are choosing to work in the trades. If nobody chooses to work in the trades, we will not build any buildings. So we must have people who are really interested in that outdoor lifestyle, that technical lifestyle, and there's nothing wrong with it. But if you want to go to the next plateau in your career, you will need that Bachelor of Science in Construction Management degree. I think that covers the questions we have. Did any more come in?
Looks like it.
That's it. Terrific.
Thank you so much for joining us for the webinar. We'd love to hear from you, so feel free to give me a call or send me an email or contact our enrollment team, and definitely if you can make it to that open house, we'd love to see you there.
And let me remind you that John said you can get your application fee waived if you sign up for coming into school this fall. 4 weeks from now, we'll be starting, and it's not too late.
We're still getting students applying, so it's not too late. You can get shipped to speed very quickly.
Thanks.
Take care.